Yeah, this is Meade 2 at 1.7 seconds. Isn't that something else? Okay, hang on. What I'm going to do is try to focus a little bit. I'm sure my focus has changed since. Yeah, oh yeah, I did. So let's try to get a decent focus. And hopefully we'll get to bring it into what we want. Okay, let's try this. Now, because it's a galaxy, there's a lot less light involved. We are going to put back everything to default. Now, see the difference at 1.7 seconds? And look how dim it is now. Just by increasing the brightness a little bit, readjusting the contrast a wee bit, especially the ever important gamma, you do get to see what you need to see. Hang on a sec, there you go. This is pretty cool. So because of that, we are going to change the exposure. Now I'm on top of the video mode. That means my exposure time is adjusted from 0 to 5 seconds. I'm going to leave that at 2 seconds for an example. That way I don't have to touch any of the adjustments of the trigger mode. And all I got to do is leave that there because it's a second sequence. Let's go to the trigger mode now, and we're going to start a 10 seconds loop and see what we're going to get. I don't know what we're going to get, so hopefully the tracking's good. Oh, nice. Very, very nice. Now, we're going to put everything back to default. All right. You know what I like about this image is the light is very, very low, or very weak if you wish, and it still picks up and separate the colors properly. That's the difference from a scientific sensor and a standard sensor. If we turn up the saturation a little bit, we should be able to bring out a little bit more colors. There you go. Beautiful. It's only 10 seconds. I'm not doing anything more than that. We could increase the brightness a little bit if we want. But we do have hot pixels. That means it would be time, because I ran the camera for a little while, it'd be time for me to take a dark frame. See a lot of detail in there. I could lower the contrast a bit. We do have a fair amount of warm pixels at the moment. And what I would need to do is take a dark frame of this with these settings, and we certainly would get a really, really nice image. And I might just try that actually. It means I'll have to go cover the telescope and take a dark frame. I'm still at 10 seconds. I'm just playing with the, just adjusting the brightness here and a little bit of the contrast. Again, I really like the colors that I'm seeing coming out from Meade 2. Okay, so we're gonna go with the contrast yet away. I haven't even gone to the histogram yet. Let's see about the black level. Yeah, black level is going to bring us down even darker background. So for live, that is a good feature to have. Again, these features are all related to video. video cameras, that is. Okay, here's what we could do. We're going to stop this, bring it up to about 20 seconds. So we'll do from 10 to 20 seconds. We're going to see a lot of, because the gain, I have the gain set up at 50, which is maximum, we're going to get some amp glow. So if we take a dark frame, it will remove it automatically as it refreshes at every frame it does, video frame. So there you go, here's 20 seconds. And of course we got to go to this area and lower those adjustments again. We've got a lot of warm pixels there, and to eliminate that, eliminate some of the minor amp glow, all we need to do is take a dark field subtraction, which is basically a dark frame, and it will take the rest of it out completely. Once you do that, you could save that on those dark frame on a hard drive, and on the hard drive, and you're good to go. I really like the colors that we're getting in there at such low exposure. I gotta go cover the telescope. I'll be right back, folks. We're gonna try a dark frame. I'll be right back. Wait another refresh or two, and yeah, let's increase the brightness a bit to pop out those warm pixels. There's no major hot pixels, it's just warm. They're scattered everywhere, same temperature. And the fan, let's see if the fan is running, and it is, so we're good there. Okay, so what we need to do now is keep everything the way it is, and we are going to take dark field correction. In this case, I'm going to take 4 of them, and what you do, we press capture. Oh, basically, you could stop that. Hang on a sec. You could stop the exposure altogether and just say capture. And once you stop the exposure, the capture knows it has to take 4, because I selected 4 frame quantity. And because the trigger mode is left at 20 seconds, the dark field correction knows we need 20-second exposures of the dark frame. So as you can see here on the dark field correction, we got 1 frame of 4 taken. We may need more or less. It all depends. But we'll take this one of 20 seconds. So we average 4 of them. It's just to smooth out the noise and smooth out everything. And it's going to be combined together. And that we could export it. We could actually save that to hard drive and use it later. And that's the fun part of it. Once you've got a database built of that, you can always reuse them to do your live observation and or for imaging purpose. For imaging purpose, you would need to take a dark frame the same night that you're doing your imaging, your main frames. It's the standard procedures with every imaging camera. Okay, so we can always export those, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to save it at, yeah, we'll put in documents, so we could call it DF_20X4. We're going to call it that, so save it. And now what we do is we go on the other side, uncover the scope, and we're going to enable this dark frame. So I'll be right back. Hang on. And we are waiting for make a snap. Okay, loop. Here we go. Let's take an image. We're going to leave all the adjustments where they are. will take a, no, not yet. I don't want to enable it. I just simply want to show the difference from before and after. So right now what we're looking at is the dark frame that we took. Okay, here we go. Because I moved the scope, we're obviously going to move all of that. So what I'm going to do is raise it up a little bit because the target is going down. Okay, stop it, switch over to video mode. Alright, and okay, we could increase that a little bit. What I need to do is raise it up. It allows me to see it a little bit. Oh, crap, I'm going the wrong way with the focus. Hang on, folks, I gotta start all over again. The procedure here for the color adjustment, I screwed up the focus. So brightness was at 22. Let's increase the brightness so I could see something to focus on. There we go. And we don't need 5 seconds to focus. Just a few milliseconds will be enough. Oh yeah, I'm out of focus for sure. There you go. Let's get a nice tight star. It's not too bad, I guess. Okay, we're good to go. All right. Let's switch back from video mode to trigger mode. Oh, first I need to raise the image. That's what the whole purpose was. It was a little bit too low. Let's go back to 1.8 is even better. So let's raise up M82 a little bit. Oop, a little bit too much here. All right. Okay, let's try that. Now we're going to switch to trigger mode. And loop the exposure. That means it takes a 20-second exposure at every 20-second, obviously, and displays it right away. And then we'll be able to enable the dark field correction. But first, let's look at what we're going to achieve here. Okay, my brightness was at 22, so I need to bring that back down to 22. All right, hang on a sec. We may have to take more of the dark frame, so 4 may not be enough. No, Tim, I'm using a 16-inch telescope. The larger the aperture, the more magnification you're going to get. So that's what's happening with a large telescope, especially when it's at f10. So what we're seeing is detail. This is about observation, not pretty picture. Here's the dark frame enable. Did you see that? All the hot pixels, warm pixels are gone, and amp glow is gone completely. And here's your image of 20 seconds in Altaz of M82. That is pretty cool. I'm not zoomed in at all, Tim. It's just a large aperture. The scope allows this. Now, Tim, pay attention to the amount of detail we're looking at M82. Looking at it with a bunch of stars around it and small with lots of stars around it is unattractive. When we observe as astronomer, what we do is observe the target. So we need to go inside of that and observe the actual object in finer detail, high resolution. This is called high resolution because of the high magnification. Yeah, we could zoom even more. Most likely I could. Let's give it a try and see what it does. We could go 67. So as you can see, before we do that, hang on. I just want to touch up here. I left my adjustments intact when I did the dark frame, and look at that. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to remove the dark frame subtraction on the fly. No, right now I'm at, and it don't matter. No, it's not the same thing, Tim. It's completely out. This is a false information there is on the internet. If you use an 8-inch telescope, okay, at f10, and you put a 0.5 focal reducer, technically speaking, it'll bring down to f5, correct? Oh, I know. I'm just telling you how it works there, Tim. Because online, on different groups, they're out, they're out of lunch. They're out in the woods with this. They do not know how optics works. And this is why I want to do is explain it to you. An 8-inch, an f10 will give us an image size. Technically speaking, if we put a 0.5 focal reducer on that 8-inch, you're going to go down to f5, correct? Therefore, your field of view is going to increase twice as wide, and this is what we want. The same focal reducer on a 16-inch will not give you the same field of view at all, because the diameter of the mirror that you are capturing the light coming in, the light cone is twice as big. So it won't cover the whole focal reducer. Although I'll go down to f5, yes, the image scale is the size of the object we're looking at, will be much, much larger. A 4-inch telescope, you put the exact same camera and the same focal reducer, you're going to get a wider field of view, and I mean super wide. So the same focal reducer, the same camera, will not work the same on every scope. The larger the aperture, the more magnification you do. The more magnification that is the result. So for that, it's a normal fact of larger aperture, because the light cone that comes through the focal reducer and eventually hits the CCD or the CMOS sensor in this case will be larger due to the larger light capture of the telescope, and the light cone that comes to focus is twice the size of an 8-inch. So you're still going to get a much larger object instead of a field of view. Actually, yes, a little bit, because of the 16-inch. You're absolutely right on that. We're clipping some of the light cone. Technically speaking, I would need about a 3-inch focal reducer, which is not available. But on the 16-inch at f10, I got to go from f10 down to f5, which what we're doing now. You're still going to get a large image scale. That means the object you're looking at is large, and that's what we're looking at right now. On an 8-inch, it would be a whole different story. You would see a nice star field around the object, but the object would be smaller, and you would not be able to pick up finer detail in the object. So it all depends what you want to look at. A pretty picture with a wide field of view, or if you want to study the object you're looking at. As if you use large aperture, the image won't get any brighter necessarily. It's just going to get much, much bigger. So the resolution is increased with a large aperture. Therefore, it allows you to go deeper into the target that you're looking at, break it apart more, and see the finer detail between variants of the object. That's what large aperture does to a camera and a focal reducer. Yeah, the image scale does change, Tim. It does. If you look how big Meade is on this screen, if we do the same thing on an 8-inch, for example, at the same f ratio, the field of view would be twice as wide as what we're looking at now, and Meade would be twice as small. So it would be very, very small, but you would gain a lot of field of view. So it all depends what you want to do. Large aperture is for scientific research. That's why they use large scope. What you want to do is not the field of view. Scientists don't care for field of view. They want to capture the object that they need to see to study the intricate differences between the object itself. If you are looking at a star cluster or a galaxy, doesn't matter, they need to get higher resolution. That means the ability to separate the light, and so they can see what's between it, between the different variants in the object. Now, a smaller scope, that's why a lot of people go for smaller scope. A 4-inch, 6-inch, 8-inch, 10-inch. 10-inch is starting to get big, but an 8-inch is a heck of a good size. You're going to see the target well, wide field of view, but the target itself will be small, very small. In this case, I'm using the 16-inch tonight because my 8-inch on the other side is out of commission because of the dome cable broke. I'm using the 16-inch, and Alt has This is not a quarterly mounted. This is not stack image. This is not guided or anything like that. No problem, Tim. I hope somehow that it makes it clear for you a little bit. Here's what we're going to do right now. We are going to increase the contrast here to make the background a little bit darker. We got a light background, I find, a little bit here, so we're going to change the contrast a bit. Watch what's going to happen. Now we got our dark frame, so, oh, that's nice. But I like to have it a little bit light background, having it perfectly pitch dark. Remove some of the faintest stars that you would normally see. And as a visual observer, because video astronomy is about observing with your own eyes on the screen, I want to see everything that there is in that area. So here we're not too bad. I'm going to increase the contrast to 38 from 35. My next refresh is I'm going to disable the dark field correction just to show you the difference. All right, here we go. We're going to take the, we're going to remove the enabling of the dark field correction so we could see the difference with and without. I only took 4 frames. Again, I didn't even touch the histogram yet. Okay, there you go. This is before. All the warm pixels are there. Angle on top, left, bottom, you name it. Everything is there. Okay. And now we're going to click this thing on. And the next refresh is going to automatically subtract it. There you go. Everything is gone. You get a perfectly clear image. This is gorgeous. Actually, I'm a little bit tempted to try something here. We took 4 frames, 4 dark frames. What I'm going to do is maybe go up to 25 seconds. Our dark frame won't be the same as the main image, but hey, let's try and see what it's going to do. Hopefully, MID2 will get slightly brighter. Tracking won't be as good because the longer the exposure, the more it will show the more it's going to show the tracking error. So here comes 25 seconds exposure. Okay, no, it's not bad at all. It's not bad at all. It's still acceptable for amp glow a little bit. I would have preferred it to keep at what we had it at. So we need to increase the contrast a little bit to darken the background. My conditions are not the best here tonight, and they're actually quite poor, but we got some clear skies, so there you go. This is 25 seconds. It's not too bad for what it is. Somehow I prefer the 20 seconds, so let's stop that, go back to where we were, where we took our dark frame correction here, the dark frame, and see the result we're going to get. Now this is high resolution simply because of the magnification of the 16-inch. Alright, there we go. Now we get to lower the contrast a little bit to where it was, about 37 I think it is. Maybe 35, let's go to 35. Let's balance the background to have a nice darker, not too dark. You don't want it too dark. It doesn't look good. There you go. Now we get to see fainter stars in the background. We could probably change the gamma a little bit. Let's see what it does. Okay, here comes 20 seconds. There you go. All right. Now we can touch up on the contrast. Let's go to 40 on the contrast. So by increasing the gamma, it's going to affect your background as well and the overall brightness of the image. But I also increase the contrast. All right. We still see some faint stars, and now what we're going to do next is increase from 22 to 32, 33. The brightness. See if we can make the galaxy slightly brighter. Again, we're just going with, we're only going with 20-second exposure. I'm going to change the gamma back to default of 1.00. This is so important on any cameras that does video, is to adjust those parameters. Leave the exposure at minimal, where it is acceptable to see a good image. What I'd like to do is to move the image to the left a little bit. So for that, we're going to stop, switch to video mode, and swing the image, the telescope a little bit towards the left, so we could have it, so we could have a little bit more centered. And actually, I'm going to take an image of this. That's how easy it is. Okay, that should be close enough. Go back to trigger mode and loop the frames again for 20 seconds. And I have the dark field correction engaged. And we don't have anything done to the histogram. Here comes the image, and hopefully it's, and out of that we're going to take a snap. Okay, let's do a little bit more adjustments. We're going to increase the contrast from 40 to 45 or 44. That's gorgeous. That's really, really nice. On my screen, it's really nice. I hope you see what I'm seeing, folks, because here it's beautiful. 20 seconds, and we really see a lot of details in there. Okay. Now on top left there's a button called snap and then record. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to check on the next refresh. If the stars are around, that means the tracking was good. No, they're not. They move from left to right a little bit. So we'll wait till the next refresh. If the stars are fairly round, then we're going to hit the snap and it's going to take a picture. Would that be okay? Yes, it is. Snap. There you go. Here's my picture. And what you do, you go on top on 001. And what you can do, or you can go to File, Save As, M82_20S. Let's save just a bitmap save. And I'm going to send it to myself later. And now we could close this and we're back on live mode. It's as simple as that. Or you could tell the software to take a whole bunch of them, stack them for you, and then you could get some really, really good results. The dark phase abstraction works extremely well. I usually use only 2 or 4 of them at most, providing I keep the exposure about the same, and especially the brightness, contrast, and gamma. They must be the exact same as what you had. So the idea is get the best image you can without the dark frame by adjusting the brightness, contrast, and gamma. Once you do, then you're ready to take a series of dark field frame, save them to your hard drive, and you'll be able to use them again later. And this is 2.3 megapixels, so your image scale is quite big. The actual image itself is huge. A little bit of processing, and it's so easy to do. In fact, hey, we're going to take an image here, snap again. Let's see if the star is going to be round. And nice and round in there, that's for sure. They're big because we also have a lot of magnification. Okay, it goes to 20 now. Yeah, that's acceptable, I guess. Let's take a snap, and then you can go process. You could use denoise, sharpening, unsharp mask. Oh, this is going to bring a lot of details. Watch this. Wow, you certainly can bring a lot of detail in there. You can do that. Not too much, just enough to get you. You go crazy with it, but you don't want to, because you're going to create all kinds of noise and stuff and whatever. Oh, you just could close your image and you want to save it? No. We're back on live. So again, you take a snap. Here's an image we just took. Go to process, color toning, deinterlace, filters, image stacking manually or automatic, gamma. There we go. Histogramic polarization. Sharpen, denoise. There's all kinds of filters in there, so you could do image processing on the fly while you're taking an image and saving it to hard drive. In this case, we're not going to keep this one, so you go to 003, right click, close. No, I don't want to save it. And we're back to live. The versatility of this software and the camera is endless. You just need to sit down and play with it a little bit. And I tell you, what you can do is just amazing. I just wish I had my 8-inch. I could show Tim out in Louisiana that what difference we would have with the 8-inch. Tim, this weekend I'm going to be to Foymount. If you're still listening there, Tim, I'm going to be bringing a 10-inch LX200, and I'm going to bring the exact same camera, the exact same focal reducer, and we're going to use it on the 10-inch in Foymount and in Altaz. I'm going to repeat the exact same experiment there while we broadcast on NSN, probably Friday night or Saturday night. It's supposed to be clear, and what it's going to give us is the chance to really review everything compared to the 16-inch. Okay, we're going to increase the color saturation, and the reason is I would like to find the color balance. I find the... Oh, sounds good, Tim. Good. I hope you do. And then, obviously, if you got questions, just shoot, you know. Not here to argue. I know my voice raises sometime. It's just what I read online, and what it is two different stories, and I wish people wouldn't go to those sites. Just avoid them, because it just adds to the confusion of everything. Okay, let's try to get a decent color toning here, and by adjusting the hue, by increasing the saturation, the colors are very ugly, and that's what we want. That's okay. Okay, right now the hue set at 2. It's close to default. Let's see what the overall coloring we're going to get. This is not a long exposure. It's only 20 seconds, and there's no stacking involved. So we're going to put it back where it was, about 20, I think it was, and we had a good, decent background. If worst comes to worst, we could go to color balance. That's what we're going to do in a minute. And we could lower the green. Okay, let's go back to 8. Let's close that and go to color balance. Green needs to be lowered, so let's go to -30. If I remember right, that's what I've done before. Go to the colors and lower the colors themselves instead of. See what happened? What's happening is we took the dark frame with that color balance the way it was. That's going to change. You need to take a whole new dark frame. So you make sure that your picture that you are adjusting before you take the dark frames are well calibrated, everything is nice, then you get to take your dark frame. Because you're dealing with colors on the fly. You don't add those colors like RGB as if you would do with an imager. The colors are live on the fly. You see this live as it happens. This is pretty nice. I'm going to take another picture of that, I think. Okay, we'll wait for the next refresh. Hopefully that will get here a little bit more on the hue. I should take note where it was. We get to lower the contrast, the saturation about 80, I think I had it at. So we'll see right away. If colors are not nice, we know what we've done wrong. We should have not fart around with it. Okay, so the color saturation is a bit too low. Let's bring it up to about 100 or so. All right, let's wait for the saturation, the next exposure. Okay, we need to turn that up a little bit more. 113, that's the cubic inch of my motorbike, so we'll use 113 for saturation. All right, let's see what it's going to give us. We don't want strong colors, just enough to give you a nice color touch. The saturation default is 120, so we're back to 120. It's pretty well how we took the dark frame subtraction. Not too bad at all. There, we could take another picture, and tracking is so-so. That's okay. There, we could save it as, and we're going to call it B, because it's the second one, and it's the same with everything, and then close that one. Anyways, that pretty well wraps up how to use a DS2.3 Plus. This is the camera I'm going to bring to Foy Mount, among other ones, but this is the one I'm planning to use at the Video Star Party at this weekend in Foy Mount, Ontario, where people from all over are coming up and setting up out on top of the mountain over there, and we'll be doing live broadcast and having a lot of fun in video astronomy, not imaging, video astronomy, big difference. So I'd like to thank everybody that stopped by, and Tim, I hope to see you there, Tim, in Louisiana. Hopefully you'll join on the broadcast. Hopefully my internet's going to work up there. Connie as well, I hope you're going to be there, and everybody else. And Dwayne out in Maine, thank you for being here. Jack, you're very welcome, Tim, anytime. And yeah, hopefully it works. But I tell you, I really like what I got, Jack, by the way. I wanted to comment with you on that. Not a problem, Wayne. You're very welcome. Is the dark frame subtraction. If you don't touch the histogram, leave it at default, and go with the brightness, contrast, and gamma, you get a better, much better result, a dark frame. And this is what I like. Okay, that sounds good, Jack. All right. Okay, we're going to stop this thing and close her up. Who knows? It might be raining or what. I don't know. Will be raining. Who knows? So thank you, everyone, for being here, and we will see you next time. That's going to be clear. We're going to be going to Foy Mount, and hopefully Friday night, Saturday night is supposed to be very clear, so we are going to be there and broadcast live from that area. Once again, thank you, everyone. Have a good night.